All right, what up, everybody? Thanks for joining us today. Today's episode 37, right?
All
Of
37.
right,
Manifest
right.
Monday. Damn,
Jeez,
37, man. We've been doing this for 37 weeks.
37
The
weeks.
good
That's
thing
crazy.
about
But
it,
we
no, I mean, I was gonna say the good thing about it is when we started, man, we told ourselves that we're gonna do this every week, no matter what's going on, right? And it's crazy that
right.
because there are some times that it was kind of hard for us because I remember like two episodes fell on Zena's and our birthday, right? Yeah, it
Yeah.
was
Yep.
busy day, your birthday, but we were like, no matter what, man, we
Yep.
got on here and kept it going.
Yep.
And that's kind of like a good transition to this topic. We're gonna be talking about budgeting and finance, right? One thing I always say is good to have a budget, but it's even cooler to have to stick to a budget, right? So just like
Thanks.
sticking to whatever it is that you say you're gonna do, man. I think that's the most important takeaway. If you don't take anything away from the episode, just take away just being consistent with whatever it is you say you're gonna do.
Yep.
Because we said we was gonna do this. Because I'm sure there's some days we were tired, we got other stuff going on, but we come out here every single day and stay consistent with it. And by being consistent, man, I've learned a lot. I'm sure you guys have learned a lot over the period of like 37 weeks. And all the people who've been part of the episode, man, sharing knowledge and ideas. And I think it just helps to build that community. So let's get started, guys. So when it comes to like, I'm just gonna get right into it. Like, what do you guys think? Some of the reasons that people don't really stick to their budget.
I think,
Kick us off, Z?
yeah, I think people don't stick to their budget just for the same reason they don't stick to most things, just lack of, really. I think that's just what it boils down to. You can provide a person all the tools, but they still might not be able to like build whatever it is that they're trying to build. Like you may give them all the essential tools that they need. But at the end of the day, you mentioned it, consistency is the hardest part, right? And I think that's where most people uh, fail, just at staying consistent with budget, with anything, right? With the gym, with posting on social media, all those things. Like it takes a lot. It's not as easy as it seems to post 5 times a week, go to the gym 5 times a week, stick to your budget, and don't overspend. All these things, they accumulate over time, and right, that's where you see those compound effects. But you have to give it enough time for it to manifest in the first place. And I think that's just where most people fail. It's just the lack of discipline.
Right.
Yeah, for me, I even got to back up before I can say why people don't stick to their budget. I'd say a lot of people don't have one. You know
Fact.
what I'm saying? We got to start there. I feel like a lot
Right.
of people never created a budget.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Fact.
I probably created mine way later than I should have, to be honest.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
to be honest, like when I started thinking like after I created a budget, like how was I moving around before then, bro? It's just like I think I got this bill's coming on first. You know what I mean? It's kind of like all in the head, and it's like, bro, what was I doing? You know what I mean? So I think before sticking to it, I think a lot of people were never taught to create a budget.
Right.
That's the first off. It's like it's not in the household to create a budget.
Right.
It's kind of like it's weird too in life. It's kind of like you just don't have bills and then you do one day.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like
Right.
it's that fast. It's not really like an introductory. Even if would go to college or move out of your parents' house, that's all of a sudden you ain't have no class on it, and it's just like these bills is due every,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, every month. And I feel like everything sounds better when you're first thinking of it, right? Like your car payment is this, your rent is this, you know what I mean? Your cell phone bill's this, and it's like that first month everything was cool, like you know what I mean? Like I
Right.
got this much, boom, I got this much,
Yeah.
I make 1,200, my bills is 1,000, I'm good, and then you
Right.
like hold up, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So I think the biggest thing is before that is like a lot of people aren't even taught to create one.
Yeah.
Right.
And if you don't ever like go from it being in your head to writing it down as a budget, it's hard to stick to it.
Hmm.
Right.
That's why I start there. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. No, I definitely
Yeah.
agree. I think most people don't even like it's just like I think we weren't taught financial literacy, right, growing up. Because at the end of the day, if you grew up in a household that your parents are all struggling, they're in debt. Obviously, that just shows you that they don't know nothing when it comes to like budgeting, right? Because at the end of the day, if they knew better, they would have done better. So that's just kind of like where it first started, right? But I think one of the reasons too is harder for people to stick to it. Like we talked about earlier, like Z mentioned earlier, man. We might know what to do, but doing it is actually the hardest part to do it. To
Hmm.
discipline yourself every month to just go over. I think sometimes fear, right? Because I think once you look at it, sometimes if you look at your financial health and you see how much debt you are in, it makes it a little bit harder for you to go over it monthly. Because I think sometimes we just want to ignore that. We just want to pretend like it's not there. We magically think by not looking at it, it's just gonna like disappear. Our financial health are gonna get better. I would say sometimes fear, lack of knowledge, are some of the reason why we don't, and just like our overall upbringing, because we don't have people in our life who are financial literate, right? To actually teach us those basic knowledge. Even schools, bro. Like
Yep.
school don't teach all these things. I'm sure that most of us learn. For me personally, I really learned about finance when I got out of college, and I was an econ
That's
major.
a fact.
There's one, I was kind of like, I took a lot of business courses, but I never really learned anything about finance overall. Because I think I had this conversation with one of my buddy before. The system was it's kind of designed to not educate us on those important things. Because at the end of the day, it just wants you to make you to like spend more, being more in debt. Because at the end of the day, the more debt you're in, you're able to like benefit the overall system. So it's not programmed to teach us or educate us to be better from a financial standpoint.
Nah, that's you get that on the money, bro. It's kind of like you said, it's a system that is built on consumerism.
Yep.
You know what I
Right.
mean? The more we buy, the more we spend, and the crazy thing about how we spend is we spend past what we have. We go into
Right.
debt over things that we don't even really need most of the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the follow up question I got for y'all, and if anybody's in here, is when was like the click? When did you make your first budget? Like when it was like the click to be like I gotta, you know what I mean? When was
Uh,
that first thing for y'all?
man, I would say 20 right after I got out of college for me, because I just got out of college. I didn't have a job right away. I was in debt, right? My credit was just like dirt. So I was like, man, I
Yeah.
gotta find a way. Like that's how I can describe it. I'm not gonna say low because low is better. My credit score was dirt, bro.
Third is
Bro,
better.
bro, how'd you come out the gate with just like dirt credit?
Cause like I said, irresponsible, man. Like
Uh,
in debt, not paying up my bills, not having a job, right? So and then all these like bills were
That
like
boy was
piling up.
bougie before he had money. Like some things is in you, you know what I mean? Because you was
what?
always clean in college. So if you had bad credit, I know what you was doing with that credit
You know what he was doing with the credit cards, boy?
So
What?
just like, yeah. So I realized, man, I was like, all right, I want more from my life, right? I want to be in a better position financially. Like, I need to get a house. If I want to buy a house, these are the things that I have to work on. So for me, at that time, like 2014, that's when I actually just took the time just to learn a lot more about credit, pay off my debt, and just overall increase my credit score. So I was saying 2014, that's when it finally clicked, because I was like, man, if I want to create a life that I want, I got to start being responsible from a financial standpoint.
That's a fact. What
2014.
about you,
Uh,
Z?
to be honest, I don't know if I've ever actually made a very specific budget. I've always been really good at spending. Anyone who knows me knows that I'm good at spending. Like
Yeah.
I I typically monitor my spending and I monitor like my bills. Like I have a document in my phone that like notates like when all my bills are due and stuff like that to make sure I always stay on time. And because I don't have auto pay set up. I've never had auto pay set up on my bills. I know a lot of people alleviate that issue with just setting up auto pay. I never used auto pay. I'm the outlier probably. I'm probably the only person who doesn't use auto pay, but it's typically because I like to make extra payments or something like that. Like if my payment's like $5 a month, I'll typically pay more. So that's why I typically don't have auto pay set up. But I've just always been structured in that instance of just knowing when things are due and paying them on time. But I've never like actually documented like a legit budget. Like I spent this much this month and I spent that much this month, kind of thing. Just because I feel like I've always been pretty good at spending, and I'm a pretty frugy person. Like I don't spend a lot of money. The only thing I typically spend money on is food. Anyone who knows me, I love to eat, so I'm like I
Right.
food, dining and groceries. That's
Right.
typically my money spent maybe traveling,
Right.
right? You know,
Mm.
I kind of just monitor things based off of making sure everything's paid on time and like making sure like my savings, checking, all that stuff is aligned with where I want it to be. But I don't know if I've ever like actually structured out an actual budget. If I'm being completely honest, just because I've always been, I guess my system has worked for me,
Right.
but improvement.
Right.
You cut out at the end, but I think I caught you know. Yeah, I feel you. I mean, and that's all that really matters is like finding that system that works for you, right? Like for a long time, I just had like a note on my computer with all my bills listed out for the
Right.
long time. So I think like probably up to like 2018. You know what I mean? And I said this story on here. That's when shit got shaky. Parkinson. You know what I'm saying? You know, you know what I'm saying? Like that's when, we got back from Europe and my money was in a weird place and I just kind of had to look myself in the mirror and be like, bro, I'm never going to be back to this point
Right.
again. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I had started getting good at saving a little bit before that. Um, but like before that even I would always feel like every time I was spending, even if I was making more money, like I would always be back at zero. And I was just
Right.
like, bro, I'd get a little promotion or a new job or something, making more, and I'd be always back at zero at the end of every month, bro. And I was just like, bro, I had to like figure something out, like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because like you just on at the same spot. And then the craziest part about that is like, then little emergencies happen. Your tire popping, then what?
yeah,
You at
Right.
zero. Like what, you know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, bro, it just, a couple of those situations happened, and I was just like, bro, I got to figure something out. So I think like 2018 is where I got serious about my budget. That's when I like created like a spreadsheet for my budget. Um, and even then, I probably got even better over the last 2 years, like
Right.
really, really good at it.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like a budget specialist almost, like, you know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
So,
No,
yeah, man.
I
So,
agree.
yeah.
I would say in 2014, I started, but actually being disciplined to do it consistently, monthly, I would say probably about 4 years ago when I actually started the business, right? Because when you like
Hmm.
managing the business financial, you have to do it like every week or every month, right? So that's something that you can't miss. And I like, if I'm doing this for the business, I might as well just do it for myself, right? So I think just by being able to like manage the business overall financial, it made it a lot easier for me to like stick to mine because I'm like doing this anyway. Why not like look at my own personal financial picture?
yeah,
And I
Yeah.
think one of the thing is like when it comes to budgeting, man, I think it's important to have it written down because at the end of the day, if you have a cup that has a hole in it, you're not gonna be able to like keep water in
yeah,
it. And I think most of the time when it comes to our finances, that's how things work, right? Because we have all this money coming in, but we don't have no track of where we of this money is going, right? Just coming in, and then at the end of the month we realize like, damn, I didn't save anything, and that pattern, that trend will continue month after month until you actually decide to do something about it.
That's a
But if you go over your
fact.
account every month and then track it over a span to see what you think, what where you're spending money on, something you realize you're like, all right, I spend a lot on this. I don't need to do this,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Maybe I can cut that down. Like I noticed for like the past 3 months, I haven't saved anything.
Yeah.
Why is that? And I make good money, right? Because most of the time we always think, oh, we can't save because we don't make enough money. But however, in reality, we make good money. I mean, some of us, right? But at the end of the day, by not having that discipline to like track your expense to see what things are, it makes it a lot harder for you to keep track of your overall financial health, right? Because at the end of the day, it's kind of like your physical health. If you're not tracking what's going on, you're gonna have no awareness of what's going on, and then before you realize, 2 3 years, you're in this much debt without having any idea how you got into the debt in the first place.
yeah,
Yeah.
yep,
What I got a random little question to throw in y'all on this question because I've talked to people that like they're not the best at budgeting, but then when I talk to them about it, they like I just be trying to live, bro. Like
Right,
I be trying to live. Like I be trying to make sure I have a good time because life is short, right?
right.
What do you say to people like that? That's just like, bro, I'm not trying to. I need to make sure I'm living my best life. Like what's your advice to them?
Uh, I would say, man, life is short. I like to enjoy. I like to do things to be have fun. By the end of the day, right? Look at your budget as a business, right? Because at the end of the day, man, you have people. If you don't care about life is short, if you don't care about your financial health, think about you have other people in your life that care about that. If you have kids, right? So think about whatever decision that you're making today. If it's gonna affect people around you, then it's time for you to reevaluate that decision. That's how I look at it. Because I love to have fun. And the good thing about having a budget, bro, you can still have fun and still save.
That's a fact.
You know, you can
That's
do
a
it together.
bar. Yeah.
It doesn't mean like
Yes,
you can still
bro.
have
You
fun
can
and still
still have
yeah,
maybe more fun.
more fun, right? Yeah, you
Maybe
Yeah,
more fun. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
just plan. It's like I feel like we are disciplined, but we still make time for fun stuff. I have a planner, like things that I do. I still make time for the gym. I still make time to hang out with my friends. So you can still have all these fun, right? But at the end of the day, it has to be a balance. You got to figure out what you really, really want. Life is so short, but at the same time, life could be long. What
yeah,
if you're living to like 80 years old? So it's like you never know. So just like it's kind of like life insurance, right? We don't want life insurance because I don't want to die tomorrow, but it's important. God forbid something happen,
yep,
that expense
Yeah.
is taken care of. So that's how I look at just from a financial standpoint. Like life is short, but like have fun and plan. You can do both. Yeah.
exactly. Piggy, that's exactly my, and like that's what I would share with people too. Is like there's no reason why you can't have both, right? I think people think black or white. It has to be this or that. Oh, if I'm budgeting, I think but people associate budgeting with just like I'm not doing anything. And
Right.
honestly, sometimes that like that's what it does consist of, just depending on the time and the place, right? It depends on the situation. There may be times where your budget calls for you to sit your ass down on the couch and not do nothing. You know, like
Right.
just
Fact.
depending on what your priorities are, right? You know, but if your priority is having fun, you can still have fun while budgeting. It's
Right.
not like now you don't need to be going out and having fun and spending $400 on bottle service every weekend. You know, like that.
Right.
That's
Right.
probably so you can still have fun. Can you still have fun without bottle service? Absolutely,
Right.
absolutely. Get
Right.
bottle every weekend to go have fun. Honestly, I'm probably rarely ever gonna get bottle service because I'm frugal. Like I'm,
Right.
it's not often times that I just want to be popping bottles. Well, sometimes I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna lie. Sometimes when the situation calls
There's a moment.
for it,
There's a moment for everything.
Right.
I pop some bottles.
Right.
But you know, like you fit it into the budget at the end of the day.
Exactly.
There's
Fit it in the budget.
there's there's a way to make it work for everything that it is that you want to do, you know. And so and for the things that don't work, you got to make some sacrifices, but that doesn't mean that you can't have fun. It's not like budgeting eliminates all fun in your life, which is what
Right.
a lot of people associate it with. It's just like, oh,
Right.
I don't be budgeting because I just want to be like living my best life. You
Right.
can still live your best life and
Right.
budget.
Right. And I'll argue, I would say it helps to create more fun. Because when I went over my budget, I was like, oh shit, I can allocate certain amount for leisure, right? Because I have these residual after I save this amount, after I invest this amount, I still have like extra $300 more. Maybe I can do more fun stuff. I think it just like helps you plan better. It can create more fun because now, let's say if you do it during your budget, if you have an income, if you have a raise at your job or your business, now I'll have this extra money that I can like maybe have fun, travel more. So it not always has to be just cutting down. Maybe it can also help for you to do more. Maybe I can like give more to my parents. I can do this for my kids. Maybe my kids been talking about this piano class. I can actually enroll him in that class. So it's create more fun, not just for you, but also for the people around you by just looking at it.
Yeah.
And you see that with most companies, right? Well, like companies do this all the time. At the end of the day, if a company is not the bottom line, which is like the net profit, is not going up, so now company look at that overall budget. All right, how can we cut down costs? All right, maybe we
That's a
can like
fact.
get rid of these employees that we're paying, we're overpaying them. Maybe we can do other things. And also the companies might realize, you know what, we make so much more in profit that we can give back to our employees, pay them a little bit more. So it just kind of like give you a picture of how to like allocate your resource, right? If you are doing good, you can like give more about. You can like, all right, maybe I can donate more. I'm making a lot this month. Maybe I can give back to charity, right? So it just helps to just like plan your life for the future and figure out ways that you can like just allocate your resource overall on your financial health. So I would say it's kind of like helps to like create that life that you want to create.
Hmm.
Man, you was hitting that on the money, bro. Like I hit a lot of points that I liked, man. First off, the one is like, life is short,
Right.
but it's probably longer than you think.
Facts.
It's longer than you think. You know what I mean? So, and the thing I think about with that is like as you get older, your will or energy to work might be different. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You have like a working capacity now that you won't have when you're 60. It's just realistically, you're
Yeah,
just not gonna have the same capacity. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Whether if you work like like a job that requires labor, you're not gonna be able to move the same. It's just not
Right.
realistic. Like, you know what I'm saying? Even if you do stay in shape. shape. So there's certain things that I think about in that sense. And then just do you want like the option to have to work as
Right.
hard later?
Exactly.
Is kind of like I think somebody said like, if it's easy now, it's gonna be hard later, and if it's hard now, it's gonna be easy later.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of just like those little lock-in points definitely helps that. And another thing is we're in a culture right now that everybody, you was hitting on this a little bit, Diamond. Like we're talking about like how businesses look at their budget. Everybody wants to be a boss nowadays, right?
Right. Right.
To be a boss, you got to start a company. And to start a company, you for damn sure need to budget that shit.
Right.
Cause ain't no way you just gonna start like a company with no budget, bro.
Right.
Ain't no way.
Right.
There's no possible way that you just gonna start like a successful company and don't know what money's coming in, what
Right.
money's going out, how you spending. There's just no
Right.
way.
Right.
It's not possible. So
Right.
no, I just like
Yeah,
that you hit on those pieces. So I wanted to just double down on that. You know what I mean?
no, it's true because at the end of the day, that's how companies function. Because they figure out if you have a CEO that took over a new company and he look at a company like, why is it that we haven't increased the net profit? Some of the things that he's gonna look at the operating expenses, and if you look for the company operating expenses, right? But as an individual, that would be your expenses. So when I was thinking about it today, I was like, bro, we are like a business technically. At the end of the
That's
day,
a
like
fact.
run our own business. Because if you have kids, they are your employees. You are the one who provide these things for them,
That's
right?
a
So at the
fact.
end of the day, if you screw up on your budget, now their lives are going to be some way, shape affected by the decision you make financially, right? Because if I
You
have
can't
kids, if
just
I
lay
say,
them off.
right, you can't let them know you gotta take care of them, right? You know. So at the end of the day, man, by you being a business, I believe that it's imperative that we should definitely focus on that. Because at the end of the day, man, it's not just about you. Even if you don't care about financial literacy, right? Think about the other people that you care about, right? Because you
Mhm.
might not care about money, but maybe your mom does, right? Maybe she might be in a nursing home. You can be able to like create and provide better care for her. So don't just when I'm looking at budget nowadays, bro, I'm not just solely focusing on my what I can like or don't like. It's about the people in my life, people that I care about, things that you can do, right? Like I said, what I talked about earlier, like some things I want to really get into is being able to give back to charity. By having a
Yep.
budget, those are the things that you
Yep.
can be able to do. Like I want to be able to like create like a foundation in Africa, right? By having a budget, being able to like allocate a certain amount every month, those are the things that you can do. It's like a financial map. Because if you don't have a map, imagine trying to go to like a place you've never been before without a map. You might get there, but it might take you a lot longer to get there.
Facts.
And I think by having a budget like a financial map, if you want to achieve your financial goals, it makes that a lot easier to like navigate and figure it out because now you know where your money are going, you know how to move things around. It just makes it a lot easier
Yep.
just having a
I
map.
like that you said financial map, bro, because it kind of it makes me think of like the three phases for me of how my budget went, right? The first one was like just in my head, and that's like if somebody tells you, "All right, walk three miles that way, take a left, and then take a right, take two lefts, and then you know what I'm saying, you'll see a stop sign." You know what I mean? Like that was like the first phase of it, just in my
Right,
head. The second one
right,
was kind of like just writing it down, and that was better, but it was like MapQuest. You know what I'm saying?
right.
Like, it was like
It's
MapQuest. You know what I'm saying? It
true.
was just like you can still miss that turn. It's,
Right,
you know what I'm saying? It's
right,
just like it's written down. You know where to go, but it's still harder to do it. Now, when it finally became like spreadsheets and then I like checking it every day, that was
Yeah.
GPS. I know
fact.
exactly where my money is. I know exactly how much is in there. I know what I'm trying to get to. If I need to save this or pay off this credit card, I know exactly what it looks like. I know exactly how to get there. So I like that you said that, bro. And that was like the three phases
Right,
of you know what I'm saying, financial map
right.
for me, bro. It was just like
And
that.
The GPS made it a lot easier, right? Because it's smoother
Come on,
now. You don't have to
man.
like think about it, looking around. Oh, I wonder where should I go? Now you have a map to get you.
Yeah,
Turn right, turn left. In
yeah,
1,000 feet, go left.
yeah.
Even if you miss an exit, you're gonna reroute and get back there, right? It's kind of like the same thing. If you don't do it this month, you can go back next month and
That's a
kind of
fact.
figure it out what you. So it just
Circle
makes it a
back.
lot easier, to like understand and navigate. And I think for us who or anyone who want to achieve financial freedom, man, that's the first step, right?
Hmm.
It's just having that plan. Because one thing I want to talk about too is like, we talk about, oh, it's not how much you make, it's how much you save. It's true, right? It's how much you save sometimes, right? Because at the end of the day, you can make a whole shit ton of money if you're not saving, if you're not trying to like grow your money. At the end of the day, you're still going to be poor, right? Because at the end of the day, now money is coming in, is not you're not able to like retain that money. And also, I was also thinking today too, sometimes what you make too is matters, right? Because at the end of the day, it's hard to like save when what you're bringing in is so low, especially here in Colorado. The average rent is like $1,600 a month, right?
Yeah.
So imagine you make like 2 grand. Like, how can you really navigate? So yeah, having a budget is also important, and I think also just finding ways to like increase your income
Yeah.
too
Yeah.
is as important, because at the end of the day, it just helps to accelerate that goal a lot quicker, because now you have more money to like put into savings, investing, and all that too.
Yep.
What's some suggestions y'all give like on like earning more money for people? Like if you got a job,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like you just have a job, you getting by. What's some quick suggestions y'all give?
Man, I would say a side hustle, man. Something that you're passionate about, right? You don't have to really be passionate about it. Just create something, right? If you're someone who loves fitness, man, start to like hit up your friends. Like start, I used to do that before. Start doing personal training, like start a business, something that you can do, right? Because I think in this type of economy that we're in, just having one source of income is really hard to
Yeah.
get by. You
Yeah.
know, you
That's a
need like
fact.
other streams of income to just make things a lot easier.
Yeah.
You know, and also like downsides, right? Sometimes we think about, it's always about like downside. You let's say somebody who live in a 1 bedroom apartment, you paying like 2 grand a month. Maybe try. I know it's not always fun, but maybe try to get a roommate so you find ways to like downsize and like cut things out.
Yeah.
But I would say for sure, for me, I'm the type of person who believes more in like, not cutting down on everything, but find a way to like make a little bit
Hmm.
more.
I
You
feel
know,
that.
like, yeah, you heard people say, "Oh, don't buy that cup of coffee. You can save $4 a month." For me, it's like find ways to make that extra $4 a month so you can enjoy a cup of coffee. Life is short. That's kind of when I think about life is short. That's the way I
Yeah.
think about it,
Yeah,
right? Find ways
Yeah.
to make that $4 so you can enjoy that cup of coffee
that's
instead
a
of like
fact.
trying to cut it out from your budget. Yeah,
I was gonna say, piggybacking off of that, monetizing your like your hobbies, right? I think whatever it is that you're good at. Let's say somebody's really good at baking. Maybe you should like, sell some of your baked goods. Like, like figure out ways to monetize it. If you're really good at video games, right? Do video games. Start a YouTube channel and stuff like that. Like, like there's so many ways that you can monetize whatever it is that you can do. Sometimes it's the longer it's going to be the longer term, right? It's gonna be the bigger picture. Sometimes it's not going to come immediately, but um, figuring out ways to monetize your hustle or like your hobbies, I think is a big way to make extra income. And I think, is that me freezing or you?
yeah. I'm freezing for some reason.
Oh,
I'm gonna get back. I'm gonna log back in.
okay.
All right.
But yeah, I think monetizing your hobbies and also just doing research. Like you can go on Google and learn, 7 new ways to make money, right?
Thanks.
Add Diamondback again. But I think there's plenty of ways to make money, like through Amazon, through investing. You can trade. Uh, there's a lot of ways to make money. Like you make passive income if you have the ability to buy real estate. You can make money passively. There's just a lot of ways that you can do it, and I would just say research it. There's
Right.
and I'm sure like there's something that's out there that you would enjoy, right?
Right.
Like, oh, I don't know, that might work for me. Like oh yeah, I could go out and you know maybe I'm very much about the environment. So like I want to go out and collect plastic bottles. Like and I make a few extra $100 every month. Kind of thing. May not be astronomical, but it's a
Right.
make more money. There's just there. And nowadays, you can make money off of doing anything, pretty much. So,
That's a
Right.
fact, man. Yeah, and I just to add to it, because y'all hit the points, man. First, start with what you like, and then sometimes it's what you don't like too, but just like what you're good at, right? Like
yep,
it's kind
Right.
of like where can you add? And I think about it like a lot of times we think specifically on what we can do and what we like, but another thing is like what do other people need? You
mhm,
Right.
know what I mean? That's what they'll usually pay you for. So that could be as little as, sometimes you gotta put your pride aside, but like if there's down the block, there's everybody there that got like, weeds outside.
Right.
See if they want you, if they'll pay you $60 to pick them or something, or if
Right.
in Denver, shovel the walk. You know what I mean? It might not be
Right.
for everybody, but
Right.
there's things that other people need, and they'll pay for
yep,
convenience
Right.
if you can do it. If you can do it for them, you know what I mean? So
Right.
and start thinking about like what you got good at. You know what I mean? So since I got really good at my budget, maybe I can help somebody with their budget
Right,
and charge them a little bit. So, I think that's really a really big thing is like looking at what other people need. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
right,
yeah.
right.
I saw on
Another,
TikTok somebody makes extra money by just washing people's trash cans. Like, the trash bins, they get
Yep.
nasty sometimes, right? So
Yep.
they'll
All
literally go
the
around and
time.
they'll charge like $25 to just clean, like, because most people don't want to clean their own trash bin, right? That should be nasty. So they're just going around and clean people's trash bins. $25 a pop, like they might do 10 a day. It's just like, shit, I just make money just clean people's trash bins. Like,
right,
it's
That's a fact.
right. It's not the most attractive work there
right,
out there. At the end of the day, it's just like, hey, when you're in a bind and you need extra money, there's a way to make it happen.
right. Bro, $100 is $100. It doesn't matter if you got it a sexy way or if you did business that, once you're not doing something that compromise your values, it's still $100.
That's a
If
Yeah,
I
fact.
clean the trash, I make $100. If you stick on the computer and make $100, at the end of the day, it's still $100.
A
yeah,
hundred
I still
dollars
have,
is a hundred
I can
dollars.
still buy things that cost $100.
Facts. We're gonna go
And
to the same store. We can afford the same thing.
yeah, 'cause I think most of the time most of us want these kind of like sexy jobs, right? And then we want something fancy, But then there, man, some it's other ways to like bring in the same income by figuring something out. But one thing I want to emphasize though about like, what do you guys think about nowadays, like the culture we live in that most people want to like act rich, right? Even though we're not quite rich, but people want to like portray themselves as being rich. What do you guys think about that?
I say it all the time, man. Rich people stay rich because they act broke. Broke people stay broke because they act rich. And I'm just like, man, that's
Come on,
that's
man.
that is a slippery slope. You on a fast track to going broke, going not just going broke, staying broke. Forever.
Right,
Because broke is a
right,
I get it, especially in today's age where social media has connected us more than ever. We all get caught up in the evil of comparison,
right.
right? We want to compare ourselves to every person, this person, that person. It's just like, oh, this person is driving a G wagon. Fuck, like what about this person? Has a 6 bedroom, 10 bathroom mansion. Why the hell do they have that, but I don't? Like we get caught up in. It's just like, look. Sometimes it's just like, hey, you got to make it. You got to make sure shape what you got.
Right,
And at the end of the day, you can scale up, but work with what you have now.
right,
And I
right,
get so caught up in what could be, and it's just like, no, we need to focus more so on what is. Like I think a big piece of budgeting is analyzing like your current situation to set yourself up in preparation for a better future. Like so you're analyzing the like past, present, and future. Like kind of thing. And so I think a lot of people, yeah, we just get caught up in comparison and just wanting to like, oh, like, and sometimes it's not even celebrities. It's just like, this
right.
person who like is out on vacation and they drive in like a land on vacation and shit. Like it's just like shit. I need to be doing that too. And that's
Right,
when you become wealthy, stay in your lane too, though,
right,
because there's levels of wealth, right?
That's a
If
fact.
I just touched an M, I'm not trying to go kick it with like Elon Musk, bro. Like that's $1 billion, because I'm not trying to play keep up with Elon Musk, bro. I
right,
$1 million to my name. He has like $200 billion to his name. So I'm not gonna sit here. Oh yeah, we popping bottles, baby, and it's on me. Like no,
right.
no, it's not on me. It is no, no, it is not. It is. Tell them to split that shit. Split that motherfucker. No, we not doing that. So I think you got to be mindful of
Right,
just analyzing your situation and not getting caught up in comparison. And I get it. It's all a facade, though. At the end of the day,
right,
everybody
right,
like put out all the good and make it seem like they're the coolest person on earth,
right.
but that's not always the case. Like posting the bad, right? So it's just these are the moments where it's like, oh yeah, like I'm a boss and I do this and I do that and I rock this and like, nah, bro, like that's not what it's always about. And I think more than anything, it's about knowing yourself.
Right. Know
I know
thyself.
I'm not out here trying to be like Diamond. Diamond's bougie. I'm not trying to be
Yeah.
DG.
Shout out
I'm
to
not
Marco, man. Just because Diamond got Versace shoes
just because
don't mean that you need to get
don't
them.
happen. That just
If you
no.
like
Like,
it, get it. If you like it, that's what. If you like
and
it and can
now
afford it, then get it.
DG can afford it because he a baller, But I'm like, nah, I'm gonna chill out. I'm gonna not pay
Right,
$800 these pair of shoes. I'm gonna just go ahead and buy me some $65 pair of Adidas and call it a day.
fact,
At the end of
fact,
the day, both pairs of shoes are gonna get me to where I'm going. So,
Yeah.
fact.
I think
True.
it's about knowing yourself and not getting caught up in comparison, bro. But I think oftentimes people are wanting to play keep up and wanting it becomes a
Right,
contest, and
Yeah.
people get
right. That's true.
Yeah, bro, you hit that on the money because it's a lot of times I don't even think people really be liking what they get. That's the wildest
Right.
part about it. People don't even like Diamond hit it right. Like if you like them, get them, right? But a lot
Yeah.
like figure out do what you need to do to figure out how to get them. But a lot of times people don't even be liking what they want. They just want like a look of
Right.
being good. Like, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? I really think I heard this thing talking about vanity slaves and like a lot of black people are attached to this idea of like brands and
Hmm.
like slaves to brands because we have been held back from wealth so
yep,
much and we sometimes don't even feel like we can get it. So we
Right.
want to just look like we got it.
Fact.
You know what I'm saying? And that's like that's the best. That's that fast fix to like, you know what I mean? It's like, we just gonna put a band-aid over the crack in the window. We're not gonna get a new window. We just
We
gonna,
just
you know what I mean? It's gonna look good. It's gonna get by. You know what I'm saying? Like
yep,
it's gonna be, you know what I mean? And I think that's what happens. And we think that in the moment it makes us feel okay. Okay, it
Right.
don't even really
Right.
make us feel good when we buy it, but it just makes us feel good about how other people treat us when we
Right.
got it on.
exactly.
So
Right.
I will say to that, like it does feel good when you got some fly shit on and you out and somebody's like, yo, you clean
Right.
as hell.
Yeah,
Yo,
Fact.
some
No, it
girls be like, oh, he
does.
dressed
Right.
good. It makes you feel
yeah,
good.
Fact.
That's not a lie. It's
Right.
just a fact. Like I don't know no dude that was like would be mad if a group of girls came like he dressed so nice like that. Nah,
Nah.
you want you'd want that. Anybody would want
Right.
that. You know what I mean? But a lot of times we be getting things that we don't even want
yeah,
Right.
just to impress other people, and that's where I feel like it takes a left. Like you know what I mean. If you don't really want it, it's hard to even have the drive to get it.
Right.
yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? I think
Right.
that's the
Right.
truth. Like if you really want to go to New Zealand or something like that, you could figure out. It's gonna be easy to figure out ways to get. You know what I mean?
Right.
To figure out how to save or put this aside and get on a plan for it. But if you just want something to like look cool,
Right.
it's
yeah,
it's the inspiration's not even the same, man. So I think that's the piece, man.
Right.
yeah. But I
No.
think to your point though, you don't necessarily, especially like when you talk about like fashion sense and stuff like that,
Right.
spend the most money to look good. And I think
Fact.
That's a fact.
a lot of people want to associate like, oh, like I have to spend a lot of money to look good, and that's not the case.
Right.
Like there's people out there. I've seen plenty of videos on YouTube, on TikTok, all these things where people go out and they literally just thrift shop. They'll like
Hmm.
go and put together some fly ass. Like I don't know if you follow the brother, but Wisdom, like his like handles like WISDM or whatever. Like he's the black dude who be like making like anime characters,
Yeah.
like shit, like out like the
It's
fly.
fire.
Granted, he's a baller now
Right.
though, but like before he reached the status of what he's at, like I'm convinced that brother can make anything look good. Like
Right.
I give him his kudos because I'm like that brother could turn shit water into lemonade. Like or he could take oranges and water and make lemonade, and I'm like, bro, I don't know how you did it, but goddamn, I respect. And so I don't think it's always just like just associating it with spending a lot of money
Right.
and like I said, just at the end of the day, just being secure with yourself because that wasn't always the case. Like I became secure with like who I was and like what I wanted and not trying to impress other people. Like in like I would say probably like mid to late 20s, But like when I
Right.
was younger, I remember I'll never forget this. This was back in college. I think this was like our sophomore year in college, and we went to the the Cherry Creek Mall. We were at the
Right.
Cherry Creek Mall. It was like me, D'Angelo, and Austin, and I can't remember if there was anyone else. I think it was just us three. But we were going, and obviously Cherry Creek Mall, especially back in college, everything there
In
is
college
expensive.
days, boy, that's like
Everything there. So we was
that's
obviously
like Gucci back then.
but we were just window shopping. But into Burberry, and of course, I felt the pressure. Like, you know, people be like, "Oh, can I help you with anything?" And I was caught up in that facade of like, "Oh, I can't." Like, I'm broke. Like, I can't afford this shit. So I was like, you know what? What's funny is I turned to D'Angelo and Austin, and I was like, "Man, you can't come into Burberry and not buy nothing, because you know I'm trying to look awesome." So I turned to them and tell them that
That's
cologne.
crazy.
I wasn't copping nothing crazy. I copped some cologne. The cologne was like
Right.
$120.
Right.
But $120 to a college student back then was
Oh yeah.
that was a lot of
You,
money.
you had no
So
business. You had no business with that cologne, brother. You smell good as hell leaving that thing, though.
I remember walking out of that store with with that cologne in my hand, and I was like, bruh, in my mind, I didn't tell them this because
Right.
I'm like, yeah, you can't leave Burberry without buying nothing. But in my
Right.
mind,
Yeah.
I'm about to go return this shit right now. like right now. And I
Hey,
remember
fellas, I'm gonna head to the bathroom real quick, fellas. Let
All
me.
right.
I'll be right. Y'all keep walking. I'll be right back.
Enjoy that shit.
I'll never forget that story. I'm like, bro, in my mind, I was so ashamed of myself. But I had that conversation with myself. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
Right.
Like, you know, you don't have $120 to just be spending like that on some dumbass.
Right.
Like, do it. And it's just like moments like that where it's just like you have that clarity. Like, what? All right, I'm horsing around because
Right.
clearly I don't have the funds to just be. I'll walk in Burberry confidently and not buy shit. Like,
Oh
now,
yeah.
A fact with confidence. We did that. You
um,
know, when we was out there. You know what I mean? We was in Versace and all that shit, boy. I think I stayed at the front. We was in London. Y'all went in Versace. I stayed at the front. I didn't even
I got
go
my
in, bro. I
necklace
was
on.
like, you know, I think that's where we got that. It is, huh? Nah, but I'm glad you told that story, Z, because I want to touch on. It's a perfect segue right now. Most people even spend money they don't have, so they go beyond what they have. You
Right.
feel me? They go beyond what they have, and you know, and that's where you start getting into credit. You
Right.
feel me?
Right.
Like, so it's like if you make 2,000 a month or whatever, but then you got a credit card that for 1,000 and you spend 500, you really spend 2,500, and you know it feels like when you touching the credit cards, it don't feel the same as your regular bank account. But bro, when you overspend, it dips into credit, and that's where shit really starts getting shaky, man. That's where
Right.
like you paying interest on. It's not even like you paying it back. You paying interest on it, man. So what's the importance of like focusing on credit?
Before we continue, I just want to say one thing. Also, you gotta like one thing Z said that earlier. Know that's up, man. You gotta also know what you like, right? For me, fashion, clothes, I've been something I always like. You guys knew me at CSU, right?
yeah,
Clothes, watches, and shoes. Those are my vices. Those are things that I like. So now for me, like, cause I don't really buy anything else, right? I'm not at a club popping bottles. I don't enjoy those things.
yeah,
So for me, by knowing myself, whenever I feel like, I worked hard, I want to treat myself. Those are the things that I treat
yeah,
myself with. So just knowing what you like to do at the end of the day, once it's within your means, you're not like spending your credit cards on that, you're not missing your rent payment on that, then go ahead and do it. Have fun, do those things.
yeah.
At the end of the day, like you said, man, if you're doing it for you, not because of what other people think, that might be cool.
Hmm.
If you enjoy, if you like those things, then do it. But if you're just doing it because, oh, if I get this thing, people might think I'm cool. Because at the end of the day, you're not being true to yourself, right? Do things that bring you value, things that you want to do.
Exactly. I ain't gonna lie, that boy
Shout
D.
out to my boy Davion real quick though, man. He said I felt ashamed stepping in my low budget forces on the carpet the first time I went in there. You know what I'm saying?
It's
And
true.
that is a
It's true,
feeling though,
man.
right? Sometimes you in places where like I said, even when we was in Versace, like you know what I mean? I feel like I was clean. I was my clean.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? I had some
yeah,
Pumas on, and you know what I'm saying, a nice little cool button up. But I ain't, you know what I'm saying? I was like, I'm not even going in there. I don't even want to tempt myself with that Z moment. You know what I'm saying?
Not. Hey,
But
one
like
thing.
sometimes it does feel weird
Right.
being in places that
Right.
like where there's a lot of money and that you could tell this that
Right.
it does feel
yeah.
uncomfortable though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
One thing
Agreed.
I'm gonna say though, quality things does feels better on you though. I ain't gonna lie.
They,
Like that Versace shoes, like, cause nowadays, cause before I used to buy a lot of stuff, right? Just a lot of shoes or cheaper stuff. And then man, I realized I wasn't wearing those things because I just collect them. But
Yeah.
now, as I'm being more selective and just buying things that I really like, it's like for me it goes a long way because I'm not just spending a lot of money. I'm just buying one or two pair of nice shoes and things that I like, and for me it lasts a lot longer, and
yeah,
they do feel good.
yeah. Absolutely.
Good.
Get what you you pay for, right? You know,
Yeah, you
so
get what you pay
absolutely,
for.
there is
Right.
quality. There should,
Right.
like, there be some shit where I'm just like, you know, like, I'm like, why is the price tag on this $1,200? Because this
Right.
month, I don't, this is trash.
Right.
Prime example, I know I bring this up every time. Anybody who likes designer, I'm like, look, Golden Goose is the most ass shit I've ever seen in my life. Like, anybody who rocks Golden Goose, I'm like, that shit is not it.
What is
They're
that?
just glorified.
What are those? I never heard
That's
of those,
literally
dude.
all you're paying like $600 for some shoes that already look beat up.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
the wildest thing to me. I'm like,
Right.
who came up with this concept and why the fuck do people buy it? But
Right.
just like consumerism, people will literally buy. There's a market for anything.
Right.
I don't get Golden Goose. I never will. And, you know, like,
White people shoes,
like,
yeah,
White people shoes, bro.
white people.
right,
Like, I'm like,
right.
bro,
Yeah,
anybody who's
none of my homies
I
got Golden
Yeah,
Goose.
I see nobody I know who are on some Golden Goose, and I hope
yeah.
if I ever see you on some Golden Goose, I'm definitely calling you out. I'm like, bro,
I might have to look at the Golden Goose right now.
Nah, man, stay focused. Lock back in, brother. Lock back in.
lock it. 'Cause we
All
not.
right, I know we pivot a little bit, Ramon. Can we get back to your question about the credit again? Like when you talked about it, can we get
Yeah,
back to
man.
it?
I just wanted to get into like, you know, how when you overspend what you actually make, you start dipping into credit, right? And another piece of that is like we're really never taught how credit actually works. You know what I mean? You know, when you get a credit card, you see all the little numbers and shit, but you don't really see like, all right, we're gonna let you borrow $1,000, and if you spend it, you might have to pay 30%, which is like 300 back. So you're
Right.
gonna be paying us back
Yeah.
1,300. They don't tell you like that, right?
They
It's
don't.
like, cool, you, hey, congratulations, you got approved. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? So like we start dipping into credit and you have to use it wrong before you use it right.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
I feel like we all use credit
Oh yeah.
wrong, and that's why your credit was dirt when you
Oh
got
yeah.
out of college,
It
you
was
know, because
dirt,
you was
bro.
buying
Dirt.
Versace. You was
Bro,
buying
back then
Versace with your
back
Discover
then
One
I
card,
was
you know what I'm
buying
saying?
G-Shocks,
Ah,
bro. A lot of G-Shocks,
you had the
3 or 4.
G-Shock. You did
You
have a collection, boy. You had the matching hats, boy, and it
got
was not like just like black on black. It was turquoise
Right.
and
Every color,
you,
man.
mauve. You,
that boy had every color of G-Shock that existed, bro.
that
He had.
I
boy
did.
had for sure. You know what I'm
Like,
Yes.
saying?
he had the crayon set of G-Shock. Like, bro, like, I was like,
Yeah, man.
yeah,
I remember it too. That boy
Yeah.
was clean,
Yeah,
man.
G-Shock. Yeah.
So
No, bro.
like what's like what was like what's y'all like advice kind of just towards like using credit the right way?
Right.
You know what I mean?
mhm.
I was just gonna share my story, man, because I feel like, bro, I didn't really know how to use credit, bro. When I got credit card, like I said, man, I was just like buying stuff, right? At the end of the day, man, I realized, damn, I spent a lot of money on credit. So my thought was like, I'm just gonna cut off all my credit card. I don't use them no more, right? So I just cut all my credit card, and I forgot that even though I cut this card, I still have balance on them.
Now that's insane. That's insane.
So I was like, I'm not gonna use the card, but I forgot I still have balance on the card that I need to pay, and
That's crazy. That's crazy.
so I just keep getting rid of the card. And I realized at the end of the day, I got an email and letter in the mail like, oh, we're gonna take your account to collection for not paying these bills. And I'm like, God damn, I thought I got rid of my card.
I cut that bitch up, man. I can show you.
So it was
My
so I have
gosh.
to like relearn, right? So at the end of the day, I was like, all right. At the end of the day, it's a user error, right? It's me. I gotta be disciplined enough. Just because I have credit card doesn't mean I just gotta go and buy things that I don't need, right? So that was for me, and that was the whole turning point about that, right? I was like, okay, credit cards are not inherently bad.
Yeah.
We decide how we're gonna use them. Because I feel like, man, they're bad. Because sometimes people will say, oh, they just give credit cards to people like they want you to spend, spend, spend. But at the end of the day, you have
It's a
control
scam,
over
huh?
that.
It's a
Yeah.
scam,
Yeah,
right? Like
you have control on your spending habits. No one's coming to tell you, like Capital One manager is not coming on time and go and buy these things. I'm the one that making that decision. So at the end of the day, I need to be better and figure out ways to like use that card the right
Yeah.
way. And by using the card the right way, for me, it was like, because most cards nowadays, you accumulate points based on what you spent, right? And those points can now be converted into cash back, things that you can pay for other
Yep.
things. So I feel like if you use the credit card the right way that they are designed to use, man, and that you are in the, you get benefit because let's say every month you like pay off, you buy stuff like 500, all your groceries and stuff, and at the end of the month you pay it off, Now at the end of the month, you're getting all those points that you can use as cash back into your
Yeah.
account. But
Explain that too, Diamond. Explain exactly how that works, like
Mhm.
so
on a
yeah, I
credit
want to.
card.
Yeah, so like certain credit card, like when you buy certain purchase, you get like a cash back points, right? Let's say if you spend like $25, you get like 25 points, right? So over time, those points can be like added over time. How many points you have, how many points you accumulate over a period of time, that points can now be used as cash back. You can like maybe use that points to like buy a gift card, deposit money into your account. And recently, I had about 55,000 points on my credit card, and I turned that into cash back. So that's like $550 just going to my
Mhm.
account just by using my credit card. So it's in so many ways nowadays you can like use it as leverage
Yep.
to like get things out of it, because I think this is where the credit cards company wants you to do. They want you to overspend, so that way now you're paying interest
Yep.
on your
That's where they make
balance,
their money.
right?
Yeah.
That's
That's
where they
how they
make their
make
money.
the more money.
Absolutely.
They don't want you using the responsible way. They don't want you like paying using $500 a month and then paying it off. They want you to hold on to that balance for a long period of time. Like Ramon said earlier, let's say if you have a credit card, the limit is $1,000, and then you owe, like 30%, they're charging you 30% on that amount that you owe. Now that's gonna like add up more, and now you pay interest,
Yep.
and that's how they get money. And it's hard to get out of debt from that, bro. Because I remember at one
Sure.
point, yeah, at one point on one of my credit card, bro, I was like my month, I would pay like $300, but however, my interest was $150 a month on my credit card. So even though I'm making $300 payment,
God
however, out
damn.
of that $300, 150 is going towards my balance, and the other is
Jeez.
going towards my interest. So you might think you're paying $300 towards that card, but in reality, only paying 150. The other 150 is going towards the credit card company.
Yep.
So how you gonna get out of debt, right? It's gonna take you a longer time to get out of debt because now you're paying a lot more interest and all that stuff. And so you just gotta figure out ways to just be responsible about it, how you use it.
Yep.
Yeah, bro. I want to just tap on something that you said, man, because my grandpa has like great credit, right? You know what I'm saying? And what he does is exactly what you said. He uses his credit card for everything,
Right.
all of his purchases, right? He uses his credit card for all of his purchases and pays it off all at the end of the month. So he only buys what he can afford in actual money, right? But then what happens is since he puts all his purchases on there, he has a bunch of
Yep.
points. So when you look at it like that, he honestly is creating another stream of income because
Facts.
he's like getting money back for things that he's already would have bought,
Yeah.
right? So like, you know what I'm saying, if at the end of the month, he pays off his credit card, there's no interest to pay. He
Right.
just pays exactly what he would have paid, and it might have an extra $50 sitting in his account. So
Right.
now, Capital One or Discover is damn near paying him to have the
Yeah.
card.
Yeah.
So
I
when
got.
you use it right, like you said, a credit card can be a good thing when you use it the
Yeah.
right way.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
I honestly want to add another piece to this conversation because I heard this thing that really sat with me that credit is actually how wealth is created. You know what I mean? And basically it was saying basically not using your own money to buy something that can make you money is how wealth is being made. So, I was talking to my homie that does photography and he was asking me to explain it. I was like, well, check it. Like, say if somebody came up to you and said, like, yo, I got a $20,000 job for you if you have this $5,000 camera. And he's like, bet, I'll take the $20,000 job, right? He puts the $5,000 camera on his credit card, right? So he doesn't come out of his own pocket. He puts it on the credit card, right? Then they pay him $20,000. He shoots the movie, right? Pays off the credit card for the 5,000, and then pockets the 15,000,
Hmm.
right? So now he has 15,000. His credit card value is open again, and um, he never came out of his own pocket.
Right.
Yep.
That's how wealth is
Right.
really created.
Right.
When you
Yeah.
use credit to make money,
Right.
that's
Hmm.
when you're getting into a whole nother
The
game. You know what I mean? And
right
that's why a
way.
lot of people like run ads for their business on credit cards.
Right.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Because it's like that's how you actually um can build credit in a major way, man. So
Yeah.
yeah, man, I just wanted to add a couple pieces on that, man. Credit
Right.
can be a really dope thing
Right.
when you figure out how to use it, man.
Right.
Absolutely.
And also to add to this real quick, credit card is not another source of income. I think sometimes we treat credit card
Facts.
as an additional source of income. So like we're just gonna go and buy stuff. That's not credit is not money that you have, guys.
You
It's not money, right?
you owe that money.
You know that money is not additional source of income. You feel, oh yeah, I have my credit card. I'm gonna go in Dubai. I have my credit card. No, that's not your money. You don't have that money. It's not yours. right? Don't put yourself in debt because you want to do other things, you know. So I just want to throw it out
Yeah,
there too. Because I first,
yeah,
that's why I thought, you know, I thought
Yeah.
Credo was like, oh, damn, I'm making
yeah.
extra money. That's my source of income. No, it's
I
not.
get
And
27 G shots.
yeah, and I learned the hard way.
Yeah, no,
That's why my credit was dirt.
it's essentially a loan. You know, like that's what it is. It's a credit card is a loan. You know, so you still owe that money. The biggest thing is paying your interest deferring balance.
Right,
That's what you want to keep in mind. Paying the interest deferring balance. You know, if your credit card statement for $900, but if you can't pay the full amount of the $900, but your interest deferring balance is like 370, pay that balance. You won't get charged interest,
right,
you know, and pay off the rest like the next month or whatever the case may be. So just always keep those things in mind. But you can absolutely leverage credit to your
right,
advantage because, you know, thinking about it from like a business perspective, have if you have good credit, good personal credit, you can open a business line of credit and you know start charging things to your business and building your business credit because are more likely to lend money to a business than a person. You know, like
right,
it's just makes me they're more likely going to give you a larger business loan than a personal loan, and so
right,
that you can leverage to your ability
right,
have good credit. And if you don't, there's ways to turn it around too. You know, like just like we said, budgeting, diligence, those types of things. I've seen people go from like 400 credit scores to like 680 like within like a year. You know, just like
right,
a lot took a lot of effort, a lot of budgeting, a lot of saving, you know, and whatnot. But you can make it happen and you can leverage it to your advantage if you really need to. It's just really about knowing, right? I
right.
think, for instance, what was it? The uh, with Discover. Discover does where you can do a balance
I
transfer.
want
So like,
you to, I was gonna if you
Right.
didn't say it, I was gonna tell you.
yeah,
Drop this
uh,
gem on them.
a lot
Cause
of
Z taught me this, man. Drop this gem
a
on them,
lot of
Z.
people don't know about balance transfer. So like, let's say you have a credit card with like Macy's or something
Right.
like that, and Macy's is charging you a lot of interest, and it just seems like you're in that hole that you can never get out of because what you were saying, DG, I'm making $300 payments, but only half of it is going towards my principal, right? You
Right.
know, what you can do is, let's say your balance is like $2,200. You know, what you can do is you can apply for credit with like a bank like Discover. Discover is big for doing balance transfer, so I always recommend Discover if you're doing it. But you can apply for a credit card specifically. They usually offer uh, incentives for new customers. So like they might offer you like an 18-month loan like for a balance transfer. So you can transfer over that $2,200 balance to the account and pay it off in installments and not pay any interest on it. You will be charged a fee. So like, you transfer over the $2,200 and then they might charge you like I think like 3% of whatever the balance is. So you'll pay the 2,200. They'll transfer over the 2,200 plus the 3% transfer fee, or whatever it is. And then let's say your balance is now $2,500, but now you have 18 months of no interest to pay off that balance, whereas you would have been paying that with interest if you didn't have done that. And so like that's where things like leverage it to your advantage. Like, okay, now I don't have to worry about paying interest and I have 18 months to pay off this balance. Bet like I was paying $300 a month, and
Right.
you don't have to pay $300 a month. It's like if you want to pay it off early, I always encourage people to pay off your balances early because there's no penalty for that.
Right.
But you break down that $2,500 over 18 months, that's less than the $300 a month that you were paying and then
Right.
still get hit with hella interest.
Right.
That's a fact,
That's
So
good.
it's
man.
about
That's a
knowing,
bar, man.
being in the know. And oftentimes, coming from backgrounds that we come from, a lot of people don't know that. Our parents didn't know this information, and it's just like, where do you learn this? Like, and so in today's age, you can literally learn anything. So I just encourage people to like just go out and learn it.
Right.
And grant a lot of these businesses, I used to work in collections, and I remember people used to share like these horror stories and just like, yeah, I bought this car because I used to work for a company where I was like pretty much the repo guy. If you wasn't making,
You're my guy.
I was sending I was sending Steve to go pick up your shit. Like all right, like if you don't want to make
Steve.
it, you're 90 days behind on your car note. If you don't pay this within the next like 2 weeks, I'm sending Steve to come find your shit. So I used to work in collections, and I used to hear all these horror stories, and people were like, yeah, like, I bought this car and it was like 24% interest. And I'm like, how did you even like, but at the same time, this is all they see. Most people, they just see the keys that are in the hand.
Right.
They just let
Just right, right,
car, and then they hand you the keys. This could be yours
right,
for this amount. And it's just like, all they see is the payment, right? They just see, oh yeah, my payment's going to be $450 a month. Bet I can do
right.
that,
That's
kind of
right,
thing. They don't see that the interest rate that you're being charged, the APR, is 24%,
right,
which is ass. Like
right,
that is ass rate on, especially on an auto loan.
right,
Anyone, you might have bad credit, but like that is ass. Like,
right,
you might have to bite the bullet and put yourself in a situation like that. The only way I encourage people to do it is if you truly can't afford it.
right.
You should probably be making 3 to 4 times more than like whatever your payment is,
Yeah,
kind of thing. But at the end of the day, you can always refinance too. So like, like let's say you bought a car, your original loan was for 24%, but you found yourself in a position where you've been paying on time, your credit's a little bit better. You can refinance with like a bank, specifically a credit union. Credit unions, anyone who knows anything in the game,
right,
credit unions always offer the best rates.
right.
There's typically no one that, and specifically, if you really want to get specific with it, what's the military bank?
Navy Federal.
Yeah,
No one offers better rates than Navy Federal or any banks that are associated with military. If you have one of those accounts, if you were former military, or someone you have access to it, like your dad or
right,
like your parent, whatever, has access to it, I highly encourage you to use that, because you're never going to get better rates than they have to offer, and so
That's a fact.
you can always refinance. You can refinance a lot of shit. You can refinance, your home
right,
loan. Like if
right,
if the rates are appropriate, kind of thing. But like I said, just at the end of the day, it's really just being in the know and just
right,
knowing, like,
right,
like I said, I would hear these horror stories of people just like, man, like, I could afford it at the time, but then I lost my job, and it's just like, yeah, I get it. Like, I get it. You still got to make this payment, because if you don't, I got to send Steve to come get your car. Like, I'm hearing you, but like, there's not much I can do, and it sucks being in a position like that. And we've all been there, man. Like,
right.
I've been in moments where I was just in debt. Pete, we were talking about it, like, back in 2018. That was a hard time coming back from Europe, bro. I was like, bro, I don't know how.
Man, Hanifa's in here. I had to get on a payment plan with her to pay her back for something that she loaned me while she was in Europe.
Like,
I was on the cousin payment plan, boy. Like,
I would
hey,
do
I
it
can
for you
get
by
you,
some month.
I can get
Interest.
you 35 today for sure. You know what I'm saying? You know what I
Friday,
mean?
Friday,
But,
I got you.
you
Friday, I
know what I
got
mean?
you.
45,
I
Got a
get
little
paid. You
bit.
know what I
47.
mean? By March, we should be good. Like, you know what I mean? So, nah, facts,
What?
man.
That's fact. So, what are some tips for someone who has a bad credit? What are some things they can do to overall improve their credit score?
Man, I'll get really specific on what I did, and the biggest thing is like starting to understand what your credit is. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna even pull it up because there's like actually 35% of your credit is what's on your like your how much you use of your credit cards
Yeah,
pretty much, right? So like if you like your utilization is what it's called, right? So that's 35% of your whole credit is your utilization of how you use stuff. So what that means is if you have $1,000 and you have 900, then it's 90%
right,
utilization. That's a negative piece, and that's like the biggest part of your credit.
Yeah.
So and I think the second one is payment history.
right,
So what you need to do is kind of just analyze all the accounts that you have. I would look at all the credit cards you got, and just like list them out. You know what I mean? And look at the ones that have the most interest,
right,
and try to knock those out first, man. I would just say like get serious about that. And
right,
when you get extra money, man, I know you want to, we want to live when we have, when we get our refund, our
right,
tax refund back. We want to take a trip to Turks and Caicos, you know what I'm saying? Or, bottle service. Man, sometimes it's better, man, to just bite the bullet and just attack some of that debt that you got, man, and
right,
just, lower some of those those credit cards, man. Those credit cards, if you use them the wrong way, they could be really ugly, man. So
Yeah.
like that's what I would say is that's gonna be like probably the easiest way to help build your credit like
Right.
fast is
Right.
make extra payments on your credit card. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
Get those things under control, man. So
Right.
I start there.
Yeah, because I would get people like, because most people who know me, like at least on like a level, know that I've always had good credit. Like that's just something that I've always been very intentional about. And people always ask me all the time, like, how do your credit get so good? And I'm like, bro, because I'm born. Like I literally, yes, I go on trips sometimes and whatnot, but for the most part, if I get like, let's say I get a bonus from my job or something like that, that's going straight to like my credit cards or like whatever. Like I'm not spending it on no lavish like vacation or going out and having a like $700 meal, you know,
Right.
and splurging and stuff like that. There's going to be moments for splurging, right? You know,
Right.
like the biggest thing is whatever you're, and I've always been very, very intentional about prioritizing good credit and just having access to, you know, funds whenever you need them, right? You know, like the rainy day funds and stuff like that, building up your savings and whatnot. And so I think just piggybacking off of what you were saying,
Right.
you know, it's just a big thing with credit is if you find yourself in a position where you have bad credit, you could always hire a credit builder, right? Like there are
Right.
people out there who can help you build your credit and
Right.
can write the process. You're gonna have to pay them. I don't necessarily always encourage that because like it's something that you could do on your own. It's just oftentimes some people are just starting from scratch and don't know anything, and so like that's why they obviously hire those people for those services. If if you find yourself in that situation, I encourage it. But if
Yeah.
you're one of those people who is very much a self like you're a doer, like you can just go out and figure things out for yourself, I encourage you to cut back on your spending, like set a budget, like figure out those things, like P said, pay off your highest interest credit cards first and foremost, and what I also always encourage is when it comes to credit too, when we close out account or like whenever you pay off an account, don't ever close your accounts. Never close
Right.
your like that was one thing I had to learn the hard way because I closed one of my accounts because I was just never using the credit card anymore. And that actually my oldest credit card. And so like I lost my credit history from that card because I had closed it. And so that literally erased like 4 years of my credit off of my credit because I had closed that account. And so I always tell people if you pay off your card, do what DG did, cut up your cards, whatever the case may be. Don't ever close it. But I encourage you to at least have digital cards because like honestly most banks issue digital cards now because what you want to do is you still want to use that card every so often because if your account is inactive for too long, they will close for you. Like sometimes like, and I've had that happen to me too. I hadn't used my card in like 2 years and the bank just closed my account and I was pissed. I was like my what is it? Not my credit balance, but like my I'm having a brain
limit.
Huh? Like
credit score?
No. The amount however much I have access to, like the funds. Credit limit. Yeah. I was
yeah.
Credit limit on that account was high, and so the fact that they closed it pissed me off because I was like that actually hurt my credit because like even though like I like my card wasn't like active, it lowered my credit limit, like your overall credit limit from all your credit accounts and all that stuff. It lowered mine by like $20,000, so like that ended credit,
God damn.
Um, so I always encourage people, don't ever close your accounts and make sure like whatever your inactive accounts are, just make sure that you're just use it on like, go pump gas or something like that and off, so you're just staying active on that account because they will close your accounts if you don't use them after so long and they won't let you, which pisses me off.
Right. That's dope. Those are gems, bro. Shout out to Q baby in the building.
Man.
Yeah.
Drop
Also, I
a
want
gem
to say
too, DG.
you ain't gotta be like Z, born with a good credit, right? You can be like me, you're bored over here. Went from
I wasn't born with good credit. Nah, hold up, man.
I'm just messing with you. You can be like you're born, went from 500 to 800, man. 5 to 8, baby. So it's kind of like Z, like highlight most of the things that he talked about. And I think the first step is, in order, like when it comes to anything, right, you got to realize that you're effing up, right? Look at your credit score and see where it's at. I think that's the first step for me, right? At that time when my credit score was around 500, I was like, man, I was thinking of buying a house and all that. I was like, I need to figure this out. So the first thing I did was just knowing my credit score, all three of them, right? Because it's Equifax, TransUnion, and FICO scores, the three.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just know what are they, right? Take the time. And I think you can run your free credit report. I think it's freecreditreport.com annually and kind of like see overview of everything that's on your credit. You just run a free credit report. It's kind of like know where you're at, balances, like collection data, all those things. Because you can always sometimes you can call those, for example, if you have collection, you can call them sometimes. Hey, can you remove this from our credit report, right? And what also helped me too was just like that's when I created automatic payments, making sure all my bills were paid on time because at one point I was missing payment because they wasn't like set on auto pay. So auto pay for me was a game changer. It helped me a lot, right? Just making sure all my things are being paid. And like what you said earlier, Ramon, your credit utilization, making sure it's low, right? Because I know before I had huge balances on all my cards, and I think my goal at that time, I tried to keep my utilization like 5% or lower. And one
Mm-hmm.
thing too can really help having, let's say, if you're someone who has a bad credit score, someone who has, it's something that's called authorized user.
Yep.
So right now, let's say if you have an authorized user that has a really great credit score and they add you on their account, your score can increase tremendously. So even like now,
Right.
I did that. I like a couple of friends on my account, and now their credit score like is going up. So if you have like an authorized user, however, make sure that person who's an authorized user has a good credit.
That-
Because
Facts.
if their credit is bad, your credit gonna be bad too. So make sure it's like if you want a personal trainer, make sure it's someone who's fit that's gonna give you personal training license. You don't want to like go take advice from someone who have no idea about nutrition and then giving you nutrition advice. Bro, eat this broccoli, like eat this. You want to make sure that authorized user is someone who has a great credit score because by them adding you on their account, you benefit, you reap the perks of you being on their account. And those things can actually accelerate and increase your credit score, man. And last but not least, just don't use a credit card to buy things that you can't afford. If you can't pay off in a month, try not to do that.
Yeah.
Unless it's an
Yeah.
emergency. If you can't pay off in a month, within the month, try not to use your card for the
Yeah.
most part. Just
If
because
you
you
look
have
at
it, it doesn't
if
mean
you
you have
look
to
at
use
credit
it.
card, if you look at a credit card instead of looking at it like extra money, but you look at it for like emergencies or something that can help you make more money, if you look
Right,
at them like those two things instead of extra money, you'll be in a way better position, man.
right,
Way
You
better.
know what I mean? Way better position because it's even having that, even having like an open credit card for an emergency is like like emergencies come up, but
right,
like if you didn't have that in savings, even having that balance open for that is a good thing, right?
right,
Like so even if you was paying down credit cards, just having that balance sitting there, like you never know when shit happens. You
right.
know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
yeah, that's big,
And what
man.
I do, like when it comes to credit, uh, if you find yourself in a bind, right? Like let's say you were in bad, credit, like you're trying to get out of it, but you're still like falling. You're living paycheck to paycheck. Just always make sure that your payments are never hitting the 30-day threshold. That's what I
Right,
always, because once they hit the 30-day threshold of being behind, it's always in increments of 30, 60, 90, right? That's when the credit bureaus are going to report you. So, or the lender's going to report you to the bureaus. So if you let it hit 30 days, that's going to like negatively impact your credit. But like if you're, as long as you pay it by like day 29, like I'm saying, like you're going to be hit with late fees, right? But don't let it hit the 30-day threshold because that's like impact your credit. But outside of that, if you're paying it before 30 days, it's not going to impact your credit. You're just going to like rack up late fees and those types of things. But that's always better than letting it hit your credit because let's say, for instance, you fall behind on like your rent or mortgage payment. That's not only going to like negatively impact your credit, it's also going to stay on your credit for 7 years. That's typically
right,
like the like any negative impact to your like any derogatory mark to your credit is going to stay there for 7 years, and that sucks because it's just
right.
like I missed the house note, like like bro, like how does that still? But it's because it stays on there for 7 years. So just be mindful of those things.
Right,
Shout out to
right.
BEs. I didn't even they usually just raise my credit limits by itself, but he said reminder to raise your credit limit every 6 months on all your credit cards.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That's something I've never
I
actively done. I've
did
never
that
called them.
yesterday. Yeah, that's dope.
I've never
That's
called them to
easy.
raise my limits.
Yeah,
That's fire. That's a gem for real, man. They
yeah,
just naturally, like sometimes over a while they'll just give you a little email, hey, we
yeah,
just raised your limit, and that's kind of how I've just always
yeah,
rolled. But I never
yeah.
thought to like just call them and be like, hey, can we raise my limit?
I mean,
That's
you
a
don't even
gem
have.
right there. Cause
Yeah. Oh, sorry, bro, for cutting you off.
no,
But what I was gonna
that's
say,
it. I was gonna say I didn't know you
yeah,
could
you
do that.
Yeah.
don't even have to like call them. You can just go on your account too and click
Yeah.
certain card, like increase
Online.
my limit. Yeah,
You can request
Yeah.
like that, like you
yeah,
can request a specific like credit increase too. They may not approve it. Like let's say like your current limit is like 20K and you want 40, you want to double it. You can request that in your account, like typically
right,
online,
right,
and they'll let
right,
you know. They'll let you know almost instantly if you're approved.
right,
Now, a couple things you have to be mindful of. It is going to make an impact because it is it's an inquiry, right? Like so
right,
they're like obviously pull your credit to
right,
ensure
right,
like even though the inquiry might like temporarily hurt your credit like by a few
right,
points, it's going
right,
to increase over time because your credit limit is then going to increase. Because if your credit limit is increased by like 10K,
right,
that's obviously benefits you in the
right,
long term. So like
right,
it's you got to weigh out the pros and cons.
right,
But most lenders, even if you requested like a 20, like to double it, right? If they don't approve it, they may counter though. They're like, we can't offer you 20K increase, but we will offer you a 12K
right,
increase, kind of like that's how most lenders will work too. Like I've had times where I've actually requested the limit. I request, me trying to be like extra. I'm like, I want 40,000 extra dollars on my shit, and they're like, nah, we'll give you 15. Relax,
right.
we'll give you 15. Shut your ass. Just take call it a day. So like, just be mindful of that.
See, like, I got
Yeah, like,
Chase over here trying to offer me 50, and you trying to
come
offer me
on, man.
15. Where's
You can't
Parker?
beat that. That's hard, bro. I didn't know you could do that. Like, man, that's fire. Cause
Yeah.
see,
Yeah,
I'm taking gems in myself, man. I'm learning from y'all too. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? I be on here learning too. So that's
yeah.
fire.
You can do that. Like my other question was gonna ask, like, how many credit cards is is a lot of credit cards to have? And
Oh,
where you guys stay?
we had this conversation. DG,
I don't know. See,
I think you got 3.
Yeah, I just
Yeah,
have
bro.
three. Like,
I got a lot.
nah, let's
yeah.
get some sit down, though. Well, shit. How many cars you
So,
got? A lot.
How,
You
how, like how many cars you think is like to manage, right? Because for me, I feel like if I have more, it's gonna be hard to manage. So I think for me, I think three is a good number for me to manage, right? I think anything more than three for me personally just get out of hand,
so
you know.
if I'm being honest, I think I have like 14 credit
Damn.
cards.
God damn.
I think I got like 14.
I got
God damn.
I got a lot of credit
But
cards.
but this is shout out to everybody. Like I probably wouldn't suggest that to
Uh,
everybody that be watching
uh,
to have that, but he's good. But his credit's really good. You know what I'm saying? Because he can
right,
manage all
right,
14 of them. But if you the type that be running up your cars, you for sure don't want 14
yeah.
of them bitches.
Duh.
Like
it's,
you know,
like, it's
you
about
for sure.
you got to know yourself, and
Yeah,
if temptation is too real for you, do not do it. Like just do it.
Right,
that's a
But
fact.
right,
of my 14 cards, like 11 of them like have zero balance, right?
right,
Like even though I have that many cards, I only primarily like use 3 of them.
right,
Like
That's
like
a fact.
the rest of them are just like open accounts.
right,
Like I have an account with if there's an opportunity to open an account with a company, I'm probably gonna open one.
right,
Just because like they typically offer incentives. Like for instance, I went and bought furniture at Nebraska Furniture Mart in Dallas. Like when I was out there and when I was buying, furniture, because furniture's anyone who knows who's bought furniture is fucking expensive.
right,
But what I did was I opened an account with them and I put it on my card so that like I didn't have to put anything out of pocket, but also
right,
they offered me a 24-month zero interest plan. Like so like not only did I not have to come out of pocket
right,
initially, but now I have like 24 months to pay off like like I think it was like $3,000 in like furniture
right, right.
kind of thing. So like it's just whenever there's incentives like that, 0% interest, I'm all over it. Like so like that's the reason why I have so many accounts. Cause I'm not
Right,
gonna lie, it's that 0% interest that be getting me every time.
right. Yeah.
and it can help you because it can help you in the long run when if you keep your balances at zero, because
Right.
then you got your overall credit limit is probably crazy.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So
yeah,
it can help, but a lot of people don't move like that. So my
Yeah.
suggestion, I like somewhere around somewhere around DG. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? 3 to 4 cards, I feel like is right where you know what I'm saying. That's a good amount because you do want to have some
yeah,
cards.
Right. Right.
You do. You know what I'm
Right.
yeah,
saying?
Right.
Probably maybe more than
yeah,
two. You know what I'm saying? So I'd say 3 to 4 cards is like
yeah,
money, like just enough where
Right.
um, how many cards you got, what cards you got, and you could kind of picture what the balance is on them.
yeah,
You know what I mean? I think that's good. And if you're not good at it, I'm not good at remembering balances
Right.
either. That's why I started a spreadsheet that had
Right.
all the balances of my credit cards on them. I think I got 4 cards. And I
Right.
was just like, okay, I put all 4 cards on there,
Right.
Discover, Capital One,
Right.
Credit One, maybe one
Right.
more Macy's or something. Put them all on there, put the balance that I had, put the overall
Limit.
limit that I had right next to it, and was just like, let me see how I could get
yeah.
active
Right.
about paying these shits
Right.
off. You know what I'm saying? And when I pay them off, like Be Easy said, don't close the
Do
account.
not
Right.
Just let them sit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Just pay them off and then and move on to the next
Right.
card. You know what I mean? So
but
Yeah. No,
diversify your credit cards too, because I know we always talk about diversifying your assets.
right.
What I always encourage you to do is diversify your credit cards. Let's say you have 3 or 4 different cards, right? Open up different cards that are gonna like benefit you in different ways. Maybe
Mm.
use one cards because like they're gonna pay you rewards on groceries, right?
Right.
So I use this card specifically for groceries. Let's say another card pays you back for like you get a gas back reward. So I always
Right.
use the card to fill up my car, kind of thing. And then let's say you have a card for travel, right? Like
Right.
like I always travel with like United,
Right.
like so you're benefiting in all ways. So like regardless of what it is that you're spending it on, whether it be groceries, gas, travel, all these things, like you're gonna get rewards back for those things. So diversify your cards too, because like so that they pay you back in different ways, different aspects of your life.
Bro, I know your wallet is big as a textbook, huh?
that boy got a little Bible in his pocket.
Let's
You
see,
know
let's see
what I
wallet
mean?
right
I'm sitting here with
Come on, the buddy phone. Come on, man. Hello.
that money calling. Is
Come
that money calling?
on, man. That's crazy.
Baby, is that money calling?
here.
That's crazy.
Nah,
No.
I only carry 2 credit cards with me.
You
Only
too.
two. Only 2 credit cards. So
You too.
I have a very slim wallet. Thank you very much.
Right. But I use that shit as a weapon.
Come on. Come on, man. That same brick that Craig threw at Debo. You know what I'm saying?
No. But for me, am I missing out? Because right now I only have like Wells Fargo and Chase. I mean, I don't just like it's just banks. I just have banks credit cards like Wells Fargo and Chase. Like,
Oh
am I
man,
missing?
you should look into with travel ones, bro. You should look
You
at
have
some
travel.
definitely American Express, bro. Definitely
Mm,
American Express. If you like to
Yeah.
travel,
right.
just running up those for travel and getting extra miles. Sometimes you can end up paying for the next flight somewhere. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So definitely, I got a business card that I used when the whole time I was in New York. It's an American Express Amazon card.
Yeah.
You know what I
Right.
mean? New York for me was a business expense. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So right off the whole trip, but I'm running that up so I could use the points for other things. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Okay.
yeah, man. There's other ways to play this thing,
Yeah.
man.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
for sure. Let's see what else you want to add. Well,
Man,
what other questions? Yeah.
I think that's
So
pretty.
for,
I mean, if anybody here got questions, but I think
Yeah.
that's a pretty solid.
If anyone has a specific question,
yeah.
we'll definitely be happy to answer.
So
Um,
let's say I have a question, yeah. For someone who never done a budget before, right? What are some easy tips you guys can give them to like just kind of like start a budget, like some pointers, things to just get started with it.
go on. Find a homie who has like Ramon sent me his, so I ain't gonna lie, he sent me a template. But honestly, you can go on Google and like find a template on like a sample. There's so many sample templates out there that you can find. Like
Right.
just what may work for you. Just like for instance, like a sample, like you might explore different planners. Because it's just like all planners do the same thing, right? But it's just like whatever like you fit your taste the most. Same thing with budgets. Like if you're not great with spreadsheets, maybe you want to do like a physical, like spreadsheet and just like, figure out whatever, find a PDF, print it out, and then just like use that, but I
Yeah.
think just something that is going to be suitable for you.
Right. No thyself.
Yeah. But the easiest one, like Z said, the easiest way is just ask me.
Yeah, for
You know what I
real.
mean? I'll email you a copy of the budget template that I created. You know what I'm saying? And if anybody's interested, man, just send me the email, man. I'll email it over. You can put all your stuff in it, man. And it's a pretty. It has like a page that you can list all your credit cards in. You can list like your sources of income in there, man, and you could even map out like your dream goals on there. So, like I said, man, that's the easiest way I would say start there.
Right,
But really,
right,
like if you wasn't trying to do that and you was just trying to start somewhere, just write down all your expenses for the month and
right,
all your income from the month.
right,
I think that's the easiest
Yeah.
way to start.
right,
What are your bills that come in every month, and then what are your how much do you make every month consistently?
right,
You know
right,
what I'm saying? If you could write that down, that's like the best place to start. You know what I'm
right,
saying? Just look at that shit kind of once a week, maybe. You know what I'm saying? Every Sunday, man. Just take 15 minutes and look at that shit. You know what I mean?
right. That's good. I like that. Yeah, and also,
Yeah, what about you, DJ?
no, like you said, man, like I think the best way to, like, for me, it's easier with Excel template. Just have everything down, like have the formula built in. You can just plug in a number and just kind of like calculate how much your savings based on your expense and all that. But like you said, the easier way is just to like write it down. And also, like, I don't know if I can share this real quick with my whiteboard. Just I did like a little simple kind of like budget template, right?
Ah, yeah,
Your
yeah,
month,
hell
yeah,
yeah.
your monthly expense, just like income, just like write it down.
Yep.
Just kind of like
You
make it a
try
lot easier so that
to
way you
turn
can
it back fast so we can see how much
yeah.
money you got, huh?
No,
Yeah.
no, just like a little.
Nah,
It's
I'm
just like
playing. I'm
it's not
playing. I'm
my.
playing. I'm
It's
playing.
like a little hypothetical thing that I created. Yeah, just like write
Ah,
it
okay.
down. Yeah, yeah, just kind
The
of
month
like, uh,
on shoot. Damn, that's
yeah. So yeah, just like because like I said earlier, you need to like have a picture. You need a map, a financial map,
yep.
That's
and I
a
think
fact.
a budget is like your map to like figure out like what money, how your money are coming in, things that you're spending your money on. I think it's a good ways too, right? Because once you look at it monthly, you can go and make changes. You're like, you know what, this month I spent a lot on Versace shoes. I don't need that many Versace shoes. Maybe I need to cut back and buy Gucci instead. I'm just kidding.
That's
Yeah, but
crazy. Cutting back and buying Gucci is insane. Like that's
Do you do you own a pair of Ferragamos? Do you have red bottoms?
no, I don't. But
No.
I might get one pair though, but
Yeah.
not now. I saw this really clean one that I might get. I think yeah, but go. It's just important, man, to just have a clear financial picture. Just having things in your head is not really that clear. You know,
it's
like
not
what I
enough,
said
bro.
earlier, right? Because sometimes it's like, so if someone was giving you a direction, go turn right, turn right. You might get there, but it might take you a longer time to get there. And just having a budget makes it a lot easier for you to like figure out your financial situation. So
Right.
yeah, man, I think that
Just what you said.
time
I
and
just want to tap in there. Just what you said there. Like it, the budget. Like me and Z talk about this all the time. Do something hard once, and it makes everything easier every time you do it after that.
right,
So the first time you do your budget, it's probably gonna be a little bit hard,
right,
right? To think about all. I got Netflix, I got Disney,
right,
Plus. I gotta go through my statement and see what I pay every month. That first
right,
time is gonna be hard, but
right,
every month after that, it's gonna
Yeah.
be easy. You
right,
just look at that, pull that same spreadsheet up, you know exactly how much I gotta pay. You know what
right,
I'm saying? I know exactly what comes out, the dates that you put the dates next to it.
right,
You know what I'm saying? That just do it hard that one time and to
Right.
make it easy every time after
Yep.
that. You know what I'm saying?
right,
0 to 1 is the hardest increment. We
right,
say it all 0 to 1,
That's
but
a
then
fact.
it becomes a lot easier in every increment after that. So just it's all about repetition. And I think about it with doing taxes. I hate doing taxes, but like I've been doing my own taxes for like the last 8 years. And it's just like every time it comes, I hate it, I dread it. But like it's just that first time I did my,
right,
it's like bruh, like I don't
Yeah,
even know
yeah.
where to start. Now, fortunately, TurboTax does make it easy for me.
right,
Like that, it's possible. But nowadays it's just like shit. I knock out my taxes in like probably like an hour and a half, two
right,
hours. It used to take me like an eternity, like literally an eternity to do it.
right. See
That
out
shit
there
take
like
forever, bro.
hours doing figuring stuff out. Right. And then also to add one thing is having a budget is good, but make sure that you stick to it, right? Because you can write anything down, right? I can send you a workout plan, but if you're not gonna adhere to the workout plan, if you're not gonna do the workout, it's really not that important, right? So having a budget is cool, but sticking to the budget monthly is way cooler. That way you build that discipline, right? That way you stay within your means and you can figure out how much money to save. So like sticking to the budget, that's the key. Stick to it. Whatever you write down, try to stick to it.
To that point, man, the money lies in the boring. We talking about like boring is sexy. A
Right.
lot of don't like. A lot of people always think, man, that's boring. But at the end of the day, like that's how you accumulate. Like when you talk about like accumulating that level of wealth too, like we're talking about being
Yeah.
millionaires, you know, multi-millionaires at some point, right?
Right.
In order to accomplish that, it's going to take a lot of discipline. It's going to take a lot of sacrifices. It's going to, you know, like there might be parties and moments and stuff like that that we might miss out on, but
Right.
like it's going to pay long term, you know, kind of thing. So it's just about knowing it, man. And to your point, DG, setting up that financial map, it all starts with the budget, knowing yourself, knowing
Right.
what your spending are, knowing how to save, knowing credit, learning these things that like you're setting yourself up with all the tools for success to truly, you know, accomplish something that most people never will.
Right.
And my last little gem is spend more money on things that make more money.
Yep.
That's
Right.
one thing we don't do enough, right?
Yep.
Like that, like Z talked about earlier, that dude that makes money power washing. He might have to, you know, power washing people's
Trash can.
garage. I mean, yeah, garbage cans. You know what I'm saying? Like he might have spent $75 to get the little thing to clean it. You know what I'm saying? But then he's making 25 per clean. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I just said like spend more money on things that can make more money as opposed to just things assets over liabilities, right?
Always.
As
But
opposed to just like, you know what I'm saying, only buying things like, you know,
Right.
you're gonna buy things that you like, but buy some things that make more money,
Right.
man.
that's
And have fun. Have fun. Enjoy the process. Enjoy
enjoy.
the journey.
Lay that shit. You're gonna have more fun. I promise you, if you get your budget together, you will have more fun. I promise that.
Right.
Like, I promise, because I'm like the last couple of years I've been having fun, and it's like it couldn't have happened without like effective budgeting,
Same here.
be able to be in Africa and New York and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So
That's
yeah,
why I
man.
bought more Versace. I'm telling you,
Oh, man.
it helps.
Sachi Medusa head on me like
Come on, man. Facts.
boy. But now I think that's a good spot to wrap it up, man. Unless anyone has specific questions, I think that was a great conversation. Appreciate everybody tapping in, man. It's always a pleasure to just tap in with the fellas, man. Every Monday, we here every Monday, man, having these conversations. So if you found any knowledge or insight or just entertainment out of this, man, make sure to like follow us, tap
Yeah,
in,
I just follow us, please. I just put in the IG, please.
follow us on
Yeah.
YouTube, man. We post everything on YouTube. And that's honestly where we're focused on building out our community, you know, because at the end of the day, we want to share this information because we want everybody to win. We're not
Right.
gatekeeping like around here, you know. We trying to drop all the gems, and we want everybody to elevate and win together. And there's no reason why we
Right.
can't. Right? So
Yeah. And shout out to everyone who joined the live. Q Baby, Marco,
yeah,
everyone, man. You guys were active in the comment.
Come on,
Appreciate
man.
you guys.
shout
We
out
will
to
be here every Monday.
shout out
Every
to,
Monday we're gonna be here.
shout out to I saw Cass in here earlier. Shout out to Ann Shirley, Hanifa.
Anika, for sure.
Yeah, man. Davion, I know we shouted him out earlier, but man, shout out to
Shout out
everybody
to
who tapped.
Davion, man.
Yeah.
Shout out
Right.
Davion.
We
Facts.
we appreciate you guys. All right, fellas. Shout out to you guys too, man, for killing
All
us
right,
today.
man.
Another great episode. I learned a lot too, man. I learned
So,
a lot
me
today.
too, man. I was
Just
taking
having this
notes,
conversation.
man. Shout out to that, man.
Yeah, for sure.
That's
For sure.
Sure.
learn
All right.
All
something new.
right, y'all.
All right, we'll be back next Monday.
For
Holla.
sure.
Yes, sir.
Peace out.